of today's class is metabolism of major nutrients in fasting and fed state. The fasting state involved in metabolism of nutrient and utilization of the nutrients are liver, adipose tissue, skeletal muscles, brain, and kidney to some extent. We start with liver. It is high. Apart from its utilization, the main aim is to keep the nutrients in normal range in blood, just for example, especially for glucose. So in fed state, what is happening is that glucose is being taken in by the liver. Blood 2 are the receptors, which is insulin independent. From here, it is converted to glucose 6-phosphate. Glucose 6-phosphate is the main molecule through which rest of the metabolism of glucose will take place. Be it its conversion to pyruvate, its conversion to glycogen, its utilization via HMP shunt pathway. Any of the pathway, the main molecule is glucose 6-phosphate. From glucose 6-phosphate, the major pathway is glycolysis for pyruvate, then to acetyl coenzyme A, TCA cycle, then energy. This is how in fed state liver is uptaking glucose, it's utilizing it. If apart from this glycolysis and TCA cycle, it is utilized for HMP shunt pathway to provide NADPH, then it is converted to glycogen for storage. From this acetyl coenzyme A, it is basically utilization in the form of VLDL formation for fatty acid. Fatty acid synthesis is there. From synthesis, it is DLDL, which will be carrying this fatty acid or triglycerides to the blood. This is for glucose. Amino acids or proteins which are taken in, they are following two pathways. Either they are glucogenic in nature, that means they are converted to pyruvate, or they are converted to acetyl coenzyme A as ketogenic in nature. If it is converted to pyruvate, again the pathway will be the same, but this is to some very less extent because it is minimal possible as glucose is in surplus. So this pathway is happening but to minimum possible. Next is fatty acids which are taken in beta oxidation, acetyl coenzyme A, fatty acid synthesis, triglyceride formation. From that it is VLDL again, and that VLDL is taken outside. This is how liver is behaving in fed state. The main hormone for all these is insulin. Insulin to glucagon ratio is high. That means that insulin is more in fed state. Next organ, from here, next organ is adipose tissue. adipose tissue, what is happening is glucose taken in GLUT4, which is insulin dependent. Pyruvate, acetyl coenzyme, TCA cycle. Is that adipose tissue in fed state will not take proteins, it will take fatty acid from either chylomicron, which is coming from intestine, or VLDL, which is coming from liver. It will have triglyceride in fed state because there is no need to undergo beta oxidation. So it is mainly triglycerides which are stored in adipose tissue in fed state. Next is muscle. In muscle, there is no intake of fatty acids. It is basically glucose, again by GLUT4. Glucose to pyruvate, to acetyl-CoA, TCA cycle, and glucose 6-phosphate to glycogen, which will be stored. So here, the only difference from adipose tissue is that glucose is not stored here. In muscles, it is stored as glycogen. Then, important here is that it will take amino acids in. Proteins will be synthesized. जो भी चाहिए होंगे, वो protein synthesize हो जाएंगे. Those proteins are used up for the wear and tear of the muscles. So basically, two components which are taken in by muscles in fed state are glucose and amino acids. Adipose tissue, it is glucose and fat. Liver, main organ, it will take all the three. Next important thing is brain. Now brain is the organ which will take only and only glucose, which is GLUT1. It is GLUT1 and insulin insensitive. It's insulin independent. Glucose to pyruvate, pyruvate to acetyl-CoA for TCA cycle. So brain will always use glucose for energy production. It will not use anything else in fed state. I hope it's clear now that how these organs are behaving in fed state. Again, its insulin is high. So insulin, what will be the role of insulin here, or which pathways will be acting in fed state? Its increase in glycolysis, its decrease in glycogenolysis, increase in glycolysis, increase in TCA cycle, glycogenolysis will be decreased, glycogenesis will increase, decrease in gluconeogenesis. Non-gluconeogenesis will be there, minimum gluconeogenesis will be there in the presence of insulin, and that is happening in fed state. Then, no oxidation is there for fatty acid, decrease in oxidation of fatty acid, increase in synthesis of fatty acid. Fatty acid synthesis will increase in the presence of insulin. For proteins are used up for rest of the functions, but not for gluconeogenesis. So this is what is the response of body when a person is in fed state. We are talking of normal, healthy person. Because if a person is diabetic, whole of this scenario will change because insulin is not there. Now we move on to fasting state. We again start with liver. Liver, glucose minimum uptake. Main thing what is happening is glycogen which is being converted to glucose. This glucose will come out in the blood for utilization. So this is glycogenolysis. Glucose will be synthesized from glycogen. There will be uptake of amino acids, especially alanine from muscles, for gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis will be there. Again, it is leading to increase in glucose. This glucose will come out for blood glucose. Fatty acid intake will be there. Beta oxidation will be there for energy production. Beta oxidation, acetyl coenzyme A. This acetyl coenzyme A will go to TCA cycle. If excess, this will lead to the formation of ketone bodies. These ketone bodies will come out into the blood. So here we have no utilization of glucose by liver, minimal utilization. We have glycogenolysis for converting glycogen to glucose. We have gluconeogenesis for the formation of new glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. We have beta oxidation leading to the production of acetyl coenzyme A with energy liberation. This acetyl coenzyme A will be going through TCA cycle again for giving energy, or it will be converted to ketone bodies. These ketone bodies will come out. Next organ is adipose tissue. In adipose tissue, what is? It is basically triglycerides which are broken down to give fatty acids. These fatty acids will come out. Beta oxidation in liver. In wherever it is required to give energy, it will be taken up. So it is basically lipolysis will be there in fasting state in adipose tissues. Then in muscles, what is happening is, in muscles, it is again muscle glycogen which will be converted to glucose 1-phosphate or glucose 6-phosphate. Now here difference is there from liver glycogen and muscle glycogen, because liver glycogen can give rise to glucose and that glucose is coming out. But muscles, they lack enzyme glucose 6-phosphatase. Here is a block here. Glucose 6-phosphatase is not there. So glucose will not be converted to glucose. Rather, this glucose 6-phosphate will be utilized for energy production in muscles only. This is the major difference between muscle glycogen and liver glycogen. Liver glycogen is replenishing blood glucose whenever need is there, but muscle glycogen is never replenishing blood glucose. It will not lead to the replenishment of blood glucose. Rather, this will be utilized for its own activity. Next important thing here is that we have here amino acids. These amino acids are to be utilized for gluconeogenesis by liver at the time of need. So these amino acids, mainly branch chain amino acids, are taken up by muscles. These branch chain amino acids are leading to the formation of alanine. This alanine will be going to liver. Glucose-alanine cycle is there. Here it is converted to pyruvate. Pyruvate is converted to glucose. So muscle is playing important role as a source of amino acids for blood glucose at the time of need. Next comes brain. What is brain? Now brain, it's using only and only glucose. That is why blood glucose is the need, it should be normalized so that brain can have it. Gluconeogenesis, the main purpose is to restore brain glucose. So brain will use glucose only. It will take as much as it can. Approximately at the time of starvation also, 80% of glucose is taken up by brain. To some extent, it can use ketone bodies. To some extent, it can use ketone bodies. But it cannot use fatty acids for energy production because fatty acids, they can't cross blood-brain barrier. So there is no beta oxidation in brain which is giving energy. It is only glucose and to some extent it is ketone bodies. Now it's just a revision of that. How ketone bodies are giving energy, it is again through acetoacetyl coenzyme A, which is converted to acetyl coenzyme A, give energy through TCA cycle. Now the enzyme required for this reaction is thiophorase. Liver is the organ which is giving rise to ketone body production, and liver is the organ which cannot use these ketone bodies. So utilization of ketone body for energy is by extrahepatic tissues always. It's never by liver because liver is not having thiophorase enzyme. So it is not using ketone body for energy production. Now, this is metabolism of tissues in fasting state. Now here, what hormonal impact will be there? That we have here glucagon to insulin ratio high. That means at the time of starvation, at the time of fasting, glucagon level will increase, insulin will decrease. If this is increased, that will lead to increase in blood glucose level. That is mainly because of increase in glycogenolysis, increase in gluconeogenesis, decreased glycolysis. So this is decreased glycogenesis. Glycogen synthesis will not be there. Glycogen breakdown is there. Gluconeogenesis is there. Decrease in glycolysis is there. So that blood glucose levels are restored at the time of starvation. Then there will be increase in beta oxidation, increase in production of acetyl coenzyme A, increase in ketogenesis. So ketone bodies are formed more at time of starvation. That is why we say that in starvation there is ketonuria, because of excessive breakdown of fatty acids for energy production. Beta oxidation is increased. If beta oxidation is increased, then it will lead to increase in acetyl coenzyme A. That will cause increase in the production of ketone bodies. At the time of stress, we have increase in these hormones. Glucagon is there, epinephrine is there, norepinephrine is there. So all these hormones, they tend to increase blood glucose level. They will cause increase in blood glucose level. This is the main reason that we have glucagon, epinephrine, norepinephrine. To some extent, we have thyroid hormone and growth hormone, which are all opposing the action of insulin. Because insulin is the only hormone which will decrease blood glucose level. Next important thing is that what about kidney? We have done liver, role of liver. It will take up glucose at the time of fed state. It will not take up glucose but will do gluconeogenesis at the time of starvation. Adipose tissue is also playing its role, releasing triglycerides while starvation. Fatty acids breakdown is there. Brain is utilizing maximum amount of glucose. Now kidney, the role is that kidney plays very important role that one, it is counteracting acid load which is because of ketogenesis. Because ketogenesis is there in starvation, so increase in acidic load is there. That load is taken care by kidney. Kidney is main organ which will excrete this acid load. This is the one role which is played by kidney. It will excrete acid as such. It will excrete acid as titratable acidity. It will excrete acid as ammonium ion. So kidney has a variety of role to play in counteracting this acid load. And kidney is the organ, if gluconeogenesis is required for longer time, then kidney can also take its role of gluconeogenesis along with liver. Liver is the main organ which will do gluconeogenesis, but if the conditions they worsen, if starvation is prolonged, then kidney will also undergo gluconeogenesis for restoring blood glucose. So this is the role of kidney in in the time of fasting condition. I hope now it's clear that what is the metabolism of organs at the time of fed state and starved state. If we combine all these things, then it will be inter-organ metabolism. That, like for example, in fed state, what is happening is, in fed state, from intestine, these are the things which are taken up by the liver, fatty acid in the form of chylomicron, because chylomicron are synthesized in intestine. Glucose will be taken in, amino acid in, chylomicron in. From here, glucose utilization, either for glycolysis, for glycogen synthesis, for HMP shunt pathway. Liver will be providing NADPH for various role. Glycogen at the time of energy, it will be releasing its glucose to the blood. And from chylomicron to fatty acid again taken up, triglycerides again taken up by VLDL and circulated in the blood. From that VLDL and chylomicron, it is adipose tissue which will be taking maximum amount of triacylglycerols which are stored at the time for the time of need. Rest of the metabolism will go for glucose, because muscle and adipose tissue are the two organs which are using glucose depending on insulin. That 4 receptor is insulin dependent. So these two organs will have supply of glucose in the presence of insulin. And these two organs are playing important role at the time of diabetes mellitus also. Because there, again, it is uptake is insulin dependent. And in brain, what is happening is it's only and only glucose which will be taken up by the brain. So this is how inter-organ metabolism is taking place. Inter-organ metabolism is especially important at the time of fasting, because adipose tissue will start with lipolysis, fatty acids will be given, liver will start with gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis to restore blood glucose level. From that, brain will be taking in. From that, from muscles, it is amino acids will be mobilized to the liver for gluconeogenesis. So this is how the things work at the time of fed and fasting state in absolutely healthy individual. And the main hormones are insulin and glucagon. If we take the stores as such, then we have within 24 hours, this is 0 hour when we have taken in food, the glucose level will come down. From here, glycogenolysis will take place.